Secret, it's a practice. I don't care what anybody says, but confidence is a practice. It's a muscle. It's something that you build over time. You can't go from timid, shy, not really vocal to in your face. That is arrogance. Welcome back to another brand new video. I hope you're doing amazing. It's a brand new Sunday. Today we're talking about how I became confident. I'm going to share those tips for you, and I'm going to break down for you step by step how you can become your most confident self. If you're brand new here, create lifestyle content. If you are a returning subscriber, bonjour, welcome back. I really appreciate you being here. But I want to share my story on how I became confident in my 20s and growing up in my teens, in my 20s. I was the very timid, shy, quiet girl. Like, you could do whatever to me and I would not say anything. I would not, even if I felt away, I would not say anything. To me, you could step on my toe and I'd say, you're right. I just did not have that vibe in me or that energy in me to like stand up for myself. And I think that was where my lack of confidence or self-assurance in myself was stemming from. So as I got into my late 20s, this was where I really started to stand up for myself. And it first started in a very unconventional way, not how I would have probably liked for it to go, but that's okay. I'm not going to share that story on here. That was a decade ago. But that was the moment that I understood that, hey, if you do not stand up for yourself, if you don't speak up, if you don't show up, if you don't like get off that wall and stop being a plastered flower on there, people are going to walk all over you. Life is going to pass you by and you are going to look back 30 years from now and regret it. And so I really had to make a decision to show up, to be myself, to figure out, number one, discover who I was, and to honor that person and honor that confident woman in me. At the time, it was a very challenging phase, and I had to really go through it in phases, like try every single day, build that muscle, practice all the time for me to really truly be who I am today. Today I'm so much more, I'm like a 360-degree version of who I used to be in my teens and in my 20s. And that is the first thing. You need to practice becoming the confident version of yourself. Like, you need to practice showing up. You need to practice speaking your voice, understanding who you are, and being fully embracive of that. Now, the one thing that I will say that definitely helped me, like, honor my confidence, was actually being on social media and creating a YouTube channel. I think that this was where I really started to find my voice, and I started to speak up more, or I used those platforms to speak what I wanted to say, but I could not say it. So if I were to unarchive a lot of my Instagram posts, I'm pretty sure like 300 or something of there, the content in there was, they're so filled with wisdom, they're so filled with like inspiration. And that was the era where I really started to understand who I was and what I wanted and what path I wanted to take in this lifetime. And also, being on YouTube, sitting in front of a camera is not easy. Speaking to a camera when there's no one around is not easy. I remember my very first video, it was on Facebook. It was a Facebook live video. And I remember I remember going on there and probably speaking for like 2 minutes. And then I tried again another day, until it got to a point where I was asked to speak in, like, to be like a speaker in someone else's group when it came to like goal setting, motivation, lifestyle stuff, and also being interviewed on podcasts. And I practiced that over and over and over again. And that one thing not just helped me learn to speak my voice, but it also helped me slow down my speech, because I was a fast talker. I was so not confident in myself. Like, if you asked me a question and I had to respond like verbally, I would like rush it through in like 3 seconds so I can get it over and done with. Like, you would not understand what I would say, and I would not understand what I would say. And I believe that using these platforms, especially YouTube, because it's a face video thing. It's a face content creation. It's not just like pictures, but using YouTube helped me really develop my self-confidence. Also, writing my blog, pouring out that content in there, and outlining those 1,000 word blog posts really helped me discover my voice and to speak up. And I think that is why I always will say that confidence is a practice. It's something that you have to keep nurturing. You have to keep showing up for it. You have to like keep doing it over and over and over again until it becomes a natural thing. It's not something that happens overnight. It is not something that, if you decide that, you know what, I'm just gonna be confident, then you will have like this negative attitude, and it's gonna come off as you being arrogant and not confident. There's a difference between that. There's a show that two shows that I like, or I used to watch those, Scandal and The Game. In The Game, the character of Tasha Mack, she appears confident, but she's not really confident. She's arrogant. She's coming off as a very dominatrix person. She's like kind of like putting you down to make herself feel good, to make herself come up on top. And when you do that, that is not being confident. That is you being an arrogant person. Whereas Olivia Pope in Scandal, she does also have a slight undertone of the arrogance, but more of her self-confidence is knowing what she's capable of doing and knowing how to do that and presenting that. And that's a slight difference. She does still have that slight arrogance, but she's more confident in herself as opposed to Tasha Mack from The Game. And if you want to rewatch those shows now, you will definitely realize that, because you know, when we're watching the shows when they first came up, you don't really notice that they're like characters that you like bond over. You like, oh, I love how she's presenting herself, because to you that is how you would wish you would present yourself. But if you were to look back at those shows right now, like if you were to go back and do a rerun, I'm a rerun queen. I love to watch old shows over and over again. You notice the difference. You notice the undertone, especially if now that you're older, you probably have a better understanding of what being confident truly is. So you really want to be it's like a very thin line between that. It's how you present yourself. How do you say what you would like to say without stamping on someone, if that makes sense. The second thing that I did to become confident was to not worry so much about what everybody thinks about me. Usually when we're not confident in ourselves, we think that every little thing that we do is a mistake, or everything that we do is we second guess ourselves. We're like, oh, I wonder what she thought. Oh my God, she thought that I was subtle. We're second guessing ourselves all the time. And the more you do that to yourself, the more that you second guess what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're saying, the more you are putting yourself in that box. You're not really becoming that confident version of yourself. And I used to do that. I used to second guess myself or my thoughts or my ideas, felt like it was not good enough. And the moment I realized that I was doing that and I put a stop to it, that was when I really started to believe in myself more. I started to if I had an idea and I believed in the idea and I knew that idea was good and I presented that idea, that's the more that I became confident in me speaking up, in me saying what I thought, in me not just like sitting on the sideline even though I had something to say. Now there are some times when you do want to be very mindful of speaking your thoughts, not just because you have a good idea or you think something is or you have a thought towards something. That does not mean that you have to always exercise that. You have to like really weigh out your times and when it's appropriate. But the more that I stopped second guessing myself, the more confident I became in stop hunching my shoulder over when I'm walking, but more like being more upright. I'm not upright as in like my nose in the clouds, but like being more upright as in my shoulders back and having that stance and presenting myself that way. The third thing that I did to help me become more confident is actually changing my style, changing my wardrobe. I think that exploring my style and understanding my style has definitely had a huge impact in how confident I have become, how I presented myself, because my style helps me discover a different version of myself. My style helped me discover a different personality, not a personality, but like a different persona. That makes sense. It helped me embrace a different persona. My outfits used to be very childish. I used to shop on Forever 21. All that was like my go-to space, and it was always very like floral, colorful, childish. That was my outfits all the time, like the dresses, the shorts, the tank tops, the tops. Like this, that was my aesthetic in terms of my style. But when I started to become more confident, I realized that there was like a disconnect with that. Like I wanted to show up a certain way, but my style would still show me as a little girl. And I didn't enjoy that. I was already in my late 20s, entering my 30s, and I did not feel there was like a disconnect. So one of the things that I did first was to understand my style, like what do I like, what do I enjoy, like how do I really want to dress up, and also my body type or my style type. And from doing that analysis, I love a romantic type of outfits, like all the frills and the colors and the flow. Even though I do the capsule wardrobe thing, I do also love color. So I really had to learn how to use color and use my style and use the capsule wardrobe to like present the version of myself that I wanted to present. And I believe that for sure helped me show up in a different light. Like people started to look at me differently. They started to relate to me differently as well. And also I think that just doing that helped my mind. Like it really ticked a switch in my mind to make me understand, pay attention to different type of content that would help me be more confident, present myself a different way, networking, career, success related. And I think that my style in itself definitely had an impact on me being confident. So if you're trying to become a much more confident version of yourself, remember that it takes practice. It's never an overnight thing. Understand what is it that you would like trust yourself, know yourself, and trust your beliefs, trust your ideas, and be able to present that without hesitation or without second guessing yourself all the time. That in itself is definitely going to help you like really ramp up that. And if you're someone who's have an issue with like speaking, even if you don't show these videos to the public, you can create like film videos on your phone or your laptop, whatever it is. Like learn to speak up. Like because when you're in front of a camera, it definitely has a little bit of like a vulnerability thingy. So definitely like practice that, like try it out, see how it helps you, learn to enunciate your words, learn to present. And over time, like just once a week or once a month or so, just like practice it, just like have that conversation with yourself and see how that helps you become much more vocal and much more forthcoming. And additionally, if you want to try the style thing, definitely do that. Figure out how you would like to change your attire, present yourself to the world differently, and that will definitely help you. So that is how I became a very confident person. Now that's just my take on it or how I did it. If you would like to practice any of these, just pick one of them, just one. You don't have to do everything. Pick one of them and just like practice that, because again, it is a muscle. It is something that you have to do all the time or over and over and over again to master it. So pick one of those. Let me know in the comment section which one of those you're gonna practice, and I will see you in the next video. Definitely give this video a thumbs up so that the algorithm picks it and it realizes, hey, this content is cool, and it shows it to more persons. I really appreciate that. If you made it to the end of this video, here's a freebie for you. It is a free success mastery workbook. Click the link in the description box. In this workbook, I just like give you a guide to figure out what is your next step. What is your next step in terms of goal, in terms of your mindset, your habits, and your style. Absolutely free. There is no upsell whatsoever. I don't sell any courses or anything of the sort. Check that out in the description box and dive in. And thank you for being here. And check out this video right here or this video right there. Peace out.